Boy, do I have a well camouflaged cat on me. Welcome back. We have a challenging, perhaps challenging topic this week, moodiness. And I would say one of the most profound benefits of consistent meditation over a long time is that we overcome moodiness. And moodiness is definitely a detriment to our spiritual fitness. And why is that the case, you might say? Um, by the way, a lot of this message, a lot of all my messages are messages realized from my own experience of living and things I'm challenged by and looking at, because certainly um, I'm subject to those moods as well, and obviously. And I've just noticed for myself that if I'm subject and under the burden of various moods, that I lose energy and the capacity to be um, innovative, creative, intelligent, lively, and accomplish the things in life that I love the most. So we might think of moodiness as being fluctuations, um, fluctuations of our emotional weather or climate. Now, somebody can be stuck in a bad mood as well. There's no fluctuation at all. They're just chronically angry or depressed or jealous or nihilistic or um, or sad. And if that's the case, we're still under the burden of moodiness. And one of my favorite sayings that I've ever heard is that we can dig 101 foot holes or one 100 foot hole. You see somebody digging for gold, and one person digs 1 foot and they don't find anything, and then they move over and they dig another 1 foot hole, and then they move over and they dig another 1 foot hole. And the next door neighbor is digging same amount of effort, but just the same hole. They're digging into the firmament of their soul, and they find the gold, and the other neighbor finds where the dog poop has been buried 100 times. And I think you get the analogy. One thing I notice this time of year is the strong May breezes are blowing allergens at 60 miles an hour down my street, are the way that the trees move. It's fun to watch the trees gracefully, sometimes dramatically sway within these intense gusts that come. And I was thinking of the experience of being a tree, the differential between what it feels like to be a leaf and what it feels like to be the 6 foot base of a strong rooted redwood or pine tree. The differential. The leaves are up at the top, absolutely subject to the wild fluctuations of the wind, and they're this way and that way, and they're fluctuating, they're moody, they're all over the place. And yet, part of their being is the rooted part of the pine tree or the redwood that goes 50 feet down into the earth, and how, as humans, we could refer to these various aspects of ourselves, our feelings right at the very surface of our skin, and we're always in reaction to them. And somebody says something the wrong way, or we hear something on the news that catches us, or we think back to a memory of something or somebody that hurt us, or we look forward at our financial condition as it is exactly in this moment. And there's all these 1,001 details that are constantly having us fly all over the place. And yet we could refer to the part of our soul that is never moving. In yoga, this is called yoga chitta vritti narodaha. It's the stable, centered aspect of our being that's not subject to these wild fluctuations. And we really have a choice of where we want to live. And those who live at the far end of their senses and are subject to moodiness, it's like climbing up the side of a mountain and having ball bearings continuously rolled down, and you're just slipping and sliding all over them. You never really get any traction. The moody person simply never gets any traction. And in relation to where they could have gotten, into relation to where they are, there's a wide differential. So if you're the kind of person who sets their goals and objectives and sole vision on things, and if you really want to get there, we simply must make this internal decision that we will overcome moodiness once and for all. Golly, Greg, you're being awfully harsh this week with um, this admonition that we must overcome moodiness. I really enjoy my feeling nature, and I like listening to songs that talk about the wild fluctuations of my mood. That's absolutely okay. We can all choose to live in that realm, but we can introspect and see whether we want to be the wild leaf at the far end of the tree or whether we want to be the rooted, stable self that experiences the entirety of the tree. We also know what it's like to be around moody people. It's extremely challenging, isn't it? You never know what you're going to get, pins and needles. And so rather than being subject to moody people, we can begin to be the kind of person who displays and expresses a strong and consistent sense of self, and that has the tendency to draw other people up and out of moodiness. Anyway, food for thought, and I'm going to work on mine. I hope you're in a good mood all day long. See you on the morrow.